Hello students. So students, in the previous class in this chapter, that is fiber to fabric, we were talking about how do we obtain wool and what are the processes that is there when in obtaining that of the wool. So you see that what are the different processes that we have discussed to students. So it is that of the shearing is there, then scouring is there, then shorting is there, dyeing is there, combing and spinning. So these are the different steps in which we do the process to obtain the wool from the sheep. So the first method is shearing method. So what happened in case of the shearing method? Here the sheets which we can say from which the wool is obtained, we used to take that, from that of the sheep, we used to remove the fur, that thin fur layer, the skin layer, and that we called as a fleece. Now this fleece is what, whenever we are removing the fleece, it should be removed as one piece. And the removal of the fleece is done with that of the removing machine, and this should be done very carefully. Now the question arises that is it going to hurt that of the sheep because we are removing the part of it, means we are removing that fur portion of that of the sheep. So no, because the fur, the hair which is present on their body, it's dead one. So it will not going to harm them. So it is quite easy for the shepherds, for them to obtain the fur from the sheep. Now the fleece which is there, this process is the shearing, and here we used to obtain it in one piece, and this should be done especially in that of the summer season. So at the beginning of the summer season we can say that we should start it, because what happened till the beginning of the winter, it will again grow the hair on it, that will help it to protect. So what happened in the summer, because of the hot condition, it will not going to affect them, because the temperature is already very hot, so the fur will not going to affect them, means if fur is not there. But in winter, if the fur is not there, so it may they will be not able to survive in such situation or condition. So it is important to do it in the winter season. Then the second one is the scouring. How do we do the process of a scouring, students? So we are simply taking that of the fleece which we obtain in a one piece by the process of a shearing. Now you will find that it consisting of dust, it consisting of dirt, as well as that of a grease in it. So it is very important to remove the dust, it is important to remove the dirt and the grease from that of the fleece. So in the process of a scouring, we used to take the fleece and dip it in that of a water tanker so that all the dust and dirt can be removed from it. So this process is called as a scouring. So we will get a clean fleece. Then the term is shorting. When we are talking about the shorting, so it itself explains that shorting is what, student? That is, we are actually differentiating, because there are short hair is present, there are long hair is present, there is a fine hair is present, there is a coarse hair is present. So these hairs are actually should be separated into different one. So that is important to do that. So in the process of a shorting, we used to separate the fur in different types of a fur, including the soft and that of a coarse from each other. Now we know that the fur that we obtain, students, it's basically creamy white in color or white or simply black in color. So it is important to give color to it. So this can be done by the process of dyeing. So in the process of the dyeing, we used to take that of the fur and provide color to it. And finally, we were talking in the previous classes about that of the combing. So what happened in the combing, students? Let us write it in combing. In the process of a combing, what happened? We used to prepare it so that it will be spun into yarn. Okay, so this we can done with the help of a comb which is having metal teeth. So it is important to make it smoother one so that it can be used for the process of spinning. So in the spinning, we used to comb it with the help of a comb that is made of a metal teeth. So the process of a combing is there to entangle that of the hair, and thus we can use it for the further process. Moving on, and we will see the last step which is involved in obtaining of that of the wool, student, and that is nothing else than that of the spinning. So let us see the process of spinning. What happened in case of a spinning, students? So here the long woolen fiber that we have obtained from doing all this process, it is spun together to form a yarn. I told you about it that even in the class 6 also we had discussed how the fiber get converted to fabric. So in that we used to take the fiber spun together to form yarn, and then yarn undergoes the process of weaving, it undergoes the process of knitting, and finally we get the that of the fabric from it. So here what we will do the process of the spinning. So we can write it here, that is the long woolen fiber fibers are spun into thick yarn. Spun means what? Twisted into thick yarns, called thick yarn called wool. Okay, that is called as a wool. Now this is used for knitting sweater and everything. So the shortened one, this is for the long one, and the short woolen fiber, this is not the shortened one, short woolen fibers are spun into fine yarn, for weaving. So you see, what is the difference here? The long woolen fiber, it is also used in making the thin yarn that we called as a wool. Now here, it can be converted for making the woolen cloth by the process of knitting. So used for knitting to form sweater. Okay, so it undergoes the process of the knitting here, student. But this one, this thin, fine woolen fiber, they are spun together in order to undergo that of the weaving. So both of them are spun together to form the yarn, and by which we can obtain the woolen fabric. But it undergoes the weaving, and weaving is a process in which we used to take this woolen fiber for making the woolen cloth with the help of the weaving machine, okay, weaver. Okay, and here with the help of the knitting process, manually, you know that even the knitting is also done, although with the help of a machine. So for weaving and for knitting, we use the different kind of a yarn, and thus we can say that the long woolen fiber is used for making the thick yarn, and that of the short woolen fiber, they are spun together to form the fine yarn. Okay, that is used for fine. Okay, now this short woolen fiber, students, is used for making the woolen clothes like shawl. Okay, like shawl. Okay, so this is the whole method, the whole process that is involved in order to get the wool from that of the sheep. So we have seen all the different steps like that of shearing, scouring, shorting, then dyeing, then combing, and finally spinning. So these are the different methods. Now let us move to that of the silk, but before that, let me tell you one thing. So now we will discuss the another one, and that we called as the occupational hazards. Occupational hazards, students. So I hope you are knowing the meaning of the occupation. Now let us see the occupational hazard. Okay. So see here, occupational hazard. So basically what happened, you see that there are a lot of people who are working in making this process or making that of the woolen, they are working in the woolen factory, or they are working in a factory or of a fabric. Okay, so we can say that wool industry is a source of a livelihood for many people. And the people, they used to do the process of shorting there. And those who do this process of shorting, students, we will call them shorters. Shorters are what? These are those people who do the process of shorting. What is a shorting? We already have seen that in case of a shorting, actually we used to separate the different types of a wool or different quality of a wool, that which one is the thicker, which one is the that of the fine and thin, which is the small one, which is the longer one. So this process is called as shorting, and the people, those who do that, they are known as the shorters. So basically what happened, while the process of a shorting is very, you can say it's very a kind of a process which can cause disease, because sometimes the people who are doing this process of shorting may get the disease that is known as anthrax. Anthrax is the kind of a disease which basically occur in the cattle animal, students. So this disease can happen to the people who are doing the shorting methods. So the disease that is occur to the by the process of a shorting, that is called as shorter's disease. Okay, so let us write it down. First of all, we will write here the people who do the job of shorting fleece, of sheep into fibers of different quality, of different qualities are called shorters. They are called as shorters. Okay. So the people who do this process of a shorting, they are called as shorters. Okay. And the job of the shorter is very risky, because we can say here that is sometimes they get infected by the bacteria called anthrax. Sometimes what happens, they get infected by a bacteria called anthrax, and this which causes a very deadly disease called Shorter's disease. Causes a deadly blood disease. Called Shorter's disease. Shorter's disease. That is called as Shorter's disease. Okay, so we can say here that the person who used to do this process of a shorting, they are under very risk, and while doing their job they must take care of that, because a bacteria called anthrax is present which can cause the Shorter disease to them. Okay, so this is the now see here why the name is occupational hazard. So here the people, the shorters, are actually their occupation is the process of a shorting. They used to earn money through this wool industry by doing the process of a shorting, students. Now because of doing this occupation they are getting a deadly disease, and it is because of that we will say that this is what is a kind of a occupational hazard. Okay, so Shorter's disease is an occupational disease. Moving on, and we will see the next one. So we have understood, students, that how do we obtain wool by the different methods, by the different process. Now let us see that how do we obtain silk, or what do we understand by silk? How do we obtain silk by that of the silk worm? Okay, so silk. So let us write few points about that of the silk. So silk is what? It is a fine, strong. Silk is a fine, strong, soft and shiny fiber and shining fiber. Shining fiber produced by silkworm in making their cocoon. In making their cocoons. Making their cocoons. So silk is what? It is a fine, strong, soft and shiny fiber which we obtain from that of the silkworm in making the cocoon. Because it is the silkworm, when it start making the cocoon, it is the cocoon by which we obtain that of the silk. Now, silk is what? It is an animal fiber. Obviously, we are obtaining it from an insect. So, it is an animal fiber which is made up of, which is basically made up of protein. Okay, so it is basically made up of protein, students. Okay. Now, if we talk about the strength, we are saying that this is quite strong. Yes, it is. Because when you look at the soft looking silk yarn, you will find that it is very soft. So, it will be not as strong. But no, it is even stronger than that of the steel. So silk is what? The silk is as strong as comparable as a comparable thread of steel. So it is quite strong, students, soft it is, and as that of the shiny one. Now the silk fiber, it is spun together to form yarn, and finally through that yarn silk cloth is made up of, and silk cloth is quite expensive. Okay. Now for obtaining silk, what we used to do, we used to rear the silkworm, and the process in which the rearing and breeding of the silkworm occur, that is called as sericulture. So the rearing of silkworm to get silk for obtaining silk is called sericulture. That is called as the sericulture. So rearing of the silkworm so that the silk can be obtained from it, this process is called as the sericulture. So sericulture is also mean as it also means silk farming. Silk farming. So sericulture means silk farming, and it is a quite an old occupation in India, student, to obtain the silk from that of the silkworm. So this is the basic things that we have understood about that of the silk, students. Now before we go further and try to understand that of the how do we obtain that of the silk, let us try to understand the life history of the silk moth. Basically what happened in case of a silk moth, it undergoes to the four stages, means if we see the life cycle, so it includes 4 stages. So the first one is the egg. Now this egg will get hatched, and from there larva or the caterpillar, we can say, it came out of it. This larva and caterpillar that will get converted into the another form that is called as pupa. And from pupa it will, in case itself, it will get converted into that of the silk. It will get converted into the silk moth. Okay. Now, why we are talking about this? Because when you look at the pupa and that of the caterpillar stage, the larva stage, you will find that it is totally different from that of a adult silk moth. Although when it was in the egg, so there is no talk about that of the silk moth at that time. But after when the egg hatches, it came out, then you will see the little silk moth is actually looks like a larva, it looks like a caterpillar. That is why we are saying that it is a larva stage, or look like a caterpillar there. Then it will get converted into the pupa, which is another stage of that of the in the life history of the silk moth. So it is this the larva stage only in which we get the silkworm, because it used to cover itself with that of the cocoon, and through this cocoon only we get that of the silkworm. So the larva stage is also called as the silkworm stage. What happened here? So the female adult silk moth used to lay egg on that of the mulberry leaves. Why is it so? So that the egg, when it gets hatched, then what happened? The larva start eating that of the leaves of the mulberry leaves. So when they eat it, they start growing and developing and finally comes to the next stage. So they used to lay egg on the mulberry leaves and through which the larva came out. Now they used to eat the mulberry leaves and finally they becomes ready to go to that of the pupa stage. Now to get converted into the pupa stage, what they used to do, they used to release larva from their mouth, which we call a kind of a liquid which is released by them. And what they used to do, they used to show a kind of a direction in which they used to move their head side by side in order to make a shape that is 8. So they used to move their head in such a way that they start forming a 8, and this will help in covering their body with that of the liquid which is secreted by them, which is released by them. Now when this liquid becomes solidifying, because at that time when it releases, after that it gets dry, so it will become a solid silk. Solid silk will be formed from it. Now it is that larva, it is that cocoon which is made by that of the larva is used up in the form of is used to make that of the silk. After that, what happened? Why they are actually covering themselves in the cocoon, so that the development of the larva from this last stage to that of the pupa stage can occur easily. When it becomes pupa, then what happened? It starts getting converted into adult silk moth, and while doing so, the cocoon which is formed around it get dissolved, it get break down, and the adult silk moth flies away. Now question arises that when do we obtain the silk from this silk moth? At which stage? Actually, we used to obtain that of the silk moth when they are at the stage of the cocoon, when they form the cocoon around it. Why we are not waiting for that of the silk moth to break it, that of the cocoon, and flies away? At that time also we can use that particular cocoon. Actually, at that time when you use that cocoon, it will give a very low quality of a silk. So it is important that we should obtain, or the silk is obtained from that of the silkworm when it is at a larva stage and start forming the cocoon. So it will killed at this stage when there is a formation of a cocoon, and finally the cocoon gets separated from that of the caterpillar, or from that of the pupa. Okay. So this is how we get that of the silkworm. So let me write here a few things about the life history of that of a silk moth. Life history of silk moth. So, what is the first stage here, students? That is called as egg. This is the first stage. Then this egg gets hatched, and finally the larva stage came. So, larva, which we also call as a caterpillar, called as caterpillar, which is also called as the silkworm. This is called as a silkworm because we are continuously saying that we used to obtain a kind of a worm like a shape of that of the larva, and it is because of that we are saying it is a silkworm, students. Okay. From this larva, it will reaches to the another one. I am making the arrow here. That is pupa. Okay, so it will reaches to the next stage, that is called as pupa, students. And finally, from that of the pupa, silkworm. moth, which is what? Adult silk moth. Adult silk moth. So this is actually the condition that we can talk about. Now this adult silk moth will again form the egg. So this is a kind of a life cycle of that of the silk moth.